Hey there, my growers and friends. Welcome to yet another installment of Mornings with Gray. And it's me, your friendly neighborhood gardener, Graylin Brown. Today, I want to talk to you about a somewhat unique fruit to potentially consider placing in your container garden. And I know it's a little bit out there and it's challenging for most of us to grow it, unless you're like my friend Andre the farmer. He can grow these no problem. But today I want to talk to you about the Mila Pink Pineapple. So, if you're just joining us, first and foremost, I want to thank you for spending your mornings here with me. If you have questions, as always, place them right in the comments and I'll definitely address them as soon as they come up. But without much further ado, technology is technology in right now. Let's take a look at this Mila Pink Pineapple. Now, unfortunately, last week I had a little bit of an issue. My Mila Pink Pineapple actually fell off due to my own error. I mean, that's gardening in a nutshell, right? Challenges happen, things occur. I was actually twisting off some pups that grew off from my Mila Pink Pineapple, and then my main pineapple fell off. But that's okay. Things happen. But I want to make sure that we understand something very important. This is a Mila Pink Pineapple. This is not to be confused with the Del Monte patented variety known as the Pink Glow Pineapple. A lot of people get confused because when they think pink pineapple, they think, oh, this is the one that's quote unquote illegal. Good morning, my friend Kay. Good to see you. But this is not that quote unquote illegal. It's not. It's not that it's illegal. It's patented, so you can't grow it. And that's why every time you see those pink glow pineapples in the grocery store, they have cut the tops off so that you can't grow them. Well, this is the Mila Pink Pineapple. Here in Texas, it's mainly grown as an ornamental plant because, I mean, look at the foliage. I mean, that stark purpley pink, almost maroon kind of color. That's the reason why a lot of people grow it here. But you know me, I'm all about function. So I grow mine here because I want some fruit. So if we're thinking about growing this in our gardens, in our container gardens, you definitely can. First and foremost, the pineapple itself likes to grow in zones 10 through 11. That's its ideal situation because it's a tropical fruit. I mean, let's face it. That's why Andre, being in what I think he's in zone 10A, he can grow so many of your regular pineapple types. I think he actually just picked up a pink pineapple as well. So they prefer growing in zones 10A, uh, like I said, 10 through 11. But I mean, I'm in zone 8A. I'm in Dallas, Texas, just south of Dallas, and I've been growing mine for what, 3 years now. Greetings, Crystal Clear from Pittsburgh. Morning, glad for you to join us. So I've been growing mine here in zone 8A. So with that being said, I truly believe this is something that you can grow in any container garden. The only thing is, it is very frost sensitive. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to place it in containers and you're going to have to bring it in during the winter. Now, that's what I do. Now, I'm fortunate enough to have my own plant room, but then I also built a greenhouse last year, and that's why I stored mine. And the reason why it's a challenge is because with pineapples and with the pink pineapple, of course, um, you have to. I lost my train of thought. I was just sitting there talking, and then the brain just kind of drifted off there. That ever happened to you? The challenge is making sure to overwinter it, make sure to protect it, because that's what I was going to say. It's about the duration. When growing pineapples, this is not an instant gratification fruit. Think of it like grapes. When you're starting to grow grapes, when you're growing your own grapevines, you're looking at a time frame of about 3 to 4 years before you'll see any fruit whatsoever. Now, granted, you don't have to wait 3 to 4 years on a pineapple, but you are looking at about 2 to 3. And so that proposes the challenge. You have to be able to wait. You have to be patient. That reminds me, I was talking to my son about this very subject, right? So I pulled off. Oh, don't drop it off the edge. I'm sitting under my deck because the rain acts like it wants to rain. Right before I was about to start this live, kept getting little sprinkles and it stopped, sprinkles and it stopped. I was like, all right, let's go undercover. But anyway, I was talking with my 6-year-old son, and I explained to him that I twisted off the pups And we're talking about pups. Let's show you an example of a pup. We're talking about this little guy right here. See him there? That is a pup that's going to produce a new pineapple plant. All you have to do is go in and twist that off, place it in some soil, and then boom, you got a brand new pineapple coming in. So I was explaining this to my son that, hey, I just twisted off some new pups of the pink pineapple. And so pretty soon, give it about 2 years, I have even more pink pineapples, buddy. And he looked at me with a straight face and he was like, so do you mean I'm going to be 8 years old before I can taste that pink pineapple? And I was like, yeah, buddy, that logic is sound. Yeah, you're going to be 8 years old before you can taste it. He was like, oh, okay. I mean, now granted, we're talking to a 6 year old. So, them being able to wait is like, challenging. But for us adults, of course, we can wait those 2 years. And now, with that being said, while you're waiting for those 2 to 3 years for your pink pineapple, this doesn't mean you can't eat other pineapple. I mean, you can still go to the grocery store. You can buy the patented pineapples. You can possibly even find pink pineapple somewhere to be able to taste as well. But it's a little bit of a challenge because the Mila pink pineapple, is a little bit more of a rarity. It's hard to come by. Now, I was lucky enough to find these in my local hardware store, my garden center, about what? I've been growing it for about 3 years now. About 3 years now. And again, they were selling them purely as ornamental. So I saw them. I was like, oh yeah, you're coming home with me, buddy. And since then, now I've had like 4 or 5 different pups growing off of that main plant. So you know me, I'm always a huge supporter of propagation. So let's talk about the conditions, okay? Like I said, you can totally grow these in containers. Here is one of the brand new pups that I just pulled off, okay? We pulled these off about, like I said, 3, 4 days ago. All you have to do is now, this is a 1 gallon pot. This is a small pot. The ideal situations for a pineapple in any kind of variety of pineapple is going to be like about a good 5 gallon pot. That'd be good. Because when we're looking at the root structures of these pineapples, it's not going to be something that's very complex. Connection is being funny. Kay says she's in Arlington. They are in Arlington, and they just got rain. Okay, so yeah, it's probably you sending it my way. um, but yeah, so there it's not a very complex root system. So it's okay to go with something like 3 to 5 gallons, and it'll be just perfectly fine. And now, when we're talking about our soil for our pineapples, we want something, we want a blueberry consistency because pineapple I mean, think about the way a pineapple tastes, right? It has that citrusy taste, that bromine in it, that numb feeling you get in your tongue when you're eating a pineapple, or the reason why a lot of folks use pineapple for tenderizing meat. So it has that factor, and then plus it has that acidity in it. So it already being kind of naturally acidic, you want to go with something acidic in your soil. So what I would recommend would be a mixture of both sandy loam, because you want drainage and aeration. Because pineapples, while being tropical, they don't like just sitting in boggy soil. So you want something that's a good drainage, and then you also want pine bark. I would say like a pine barks mix. If you can find you some good pine barks or like an azalea blend, that would be a great soil for your pineapples. So this is what we're talking about here. If you're just joining us, good morning, good morning, good morning. If you have questions, of course, drop them in the comments. But we're talking about growing in containers our own Mila Pink pineapples, or any pineapple for that matter. So going back to that soil, you want something on the acidic scale. We're looking at about a pH of about 5 to maybe a 6. So it's going to be more acidic than like your standard fruits and vegetables. Most of your standard fruits and vegetables, like a pH of about a 6.2 to a 6.8. That's standard. So we're going to go slightly lower on that pH scale. And now the way to do this, like I said, is by adding in like maybe 50% pine mulch. You can also acidify your soil by adding in some horticultural sulfur, if I can say that, that can acidify your soil as well. What you don't want to do is start off with a basic soil and then try to acidify it. It's like working backwards. You're going to be skating uphill. You really want that soil to be acidic before you put your pups into your soil. And now, like I said, it likes drainage, so we're going to, of course, make sure that we add in things like maybe a pumice or a perlite, and then a little bit of organic matter, something like a well decomposed compost, like the compost that you can get from my friends over at Living Earth. I've been using Living Earth for years, and yes, they are a sponsor of mine, but I've been using them for years, and I love their compost, and it's made right here in Texas, so I don't have to wonder where this compost is coming from. But I digress. So you want to have some of that organic matter, but what you don't want to do is you don't want to go heavy like on the peat moss or anything like that. You don't want anything that's going to retain way too much moisture. Seeing as how we already have that pine bark in there, which is naturally already acidic, that's going to do enough moisture retention for us already. But now we've talked about the pink pineapple and its soil conditions. Growing conditions, we want full sun. It loves the sun. 6 plus 8, perfect. Now, right now, my main pineapple plant, I actually have just over yonder down by my pool because it loves the sun. Give it some more. But let's talk about taste. Okay. Now, we've talked about, well, before we talk about taste, let's continue on. Oh, wait. Starting to smell good. I wish you could smell this through the camera. It has a nice, sweet floral scent to it. And with that being said, we're going to be cutting into this pineapple. So I just want to let you know, if you're here hanging out with me now and you see me holding this pink pineapple, don't worry. We're going to cut into it because we're going to taste it. I'm going to let you know how it tastes. But before we talk about flavor, let's talk about nutrient requirements, okay? Fertilization, the school of thought is that, I know my buddy Andre, he says, just sit in the ground and, get going. But he's growing in Florida, okay? So his soil conditions, his natural soil conditions are going to be different from mine. I'm out here in Texas. And remember, we're talking about growing these containers. He can grow directly in his native soil and he's good to go. So we're going to have to supplement things, right? Good morning, Kia. Kia says, good morning. Thank you so much for the lesson. I put mine in regular soil. Okay, see, yeah, don't want to be skating uphill, Kia. So make sure we amend that soil. Let's, you don't want to go too heavy on the nitrogen because let's look at these leaves. And even your leaves of your natural pineapples, it's going to be deeper in color, so we don't need a whole bunch of nitrogen. What we're looking at as far as a NPK breakdown is going to be like, I would say a 5, 15, 10. So you want to be higher on that that phosphorus level because that phosphorus is what's going to help us start with the fruiting. So yeah, a 5, 15, 10 would be good. So higher on your phosphorus, higher on your potassium. And of course, now this is going to depending on your size of your container. So make sure you measure out your ratios correctly. You don't want to over fertilize and burn out the soil. So that's how I would fertilize it. And especially if we start fruiting, you want to make sure you're fertilizing this kind of on a regular basis because you want to really promote that fruiting to take place. And now when we're talking about fruiting, let's talk about ripening, right? So we want to get this thing to ripen. Again, we know that we're looking at a duration of 2 to 3 years on the development of this pineapple. Once you get a pineapple, you need it to ripen. So we're going to ripen it by, and I know this might sound crazy, using an apple. Now, this is true. Apples already exude what's called ethylene as they're sitting like on your, as they're just sitting in your house. Like say you have some apples sitting on your table. They're exuding ethylene, which helps ripen them faster. That's why when you're storing your produce, like say you have apples and oranges sitting next together, separate them because those apples, the ethylene that it's producing will make your oranges start to go bad really fast. And if you're wondering, like, why my oranges? I just bought these oranges. These are bad oranges. No, it's the apples. They're actually maturing. They're ripening your oranges before you can even get to them. Now, with that being said, here's a little garden hack for you. Let's say you're growing your tomatoes, and let's say, okay, like my friend out in Arlington, and you have a freak freeze come in. Because see, here in Texas, we have an extended growing season. So we can grow anywhere up to like November when we're talking about our tomatoes. And let's say a freak freeze is going to come through and you got to pick all these green tomatoes from your vines and you're like, I need these to ripen. They're just sitting in green tomatoes. What am I going to do with them? Well, of course, you can make fried green tomatoes. But if you want them to ripen, sit an apple with them. Take them in a container, put an apple right there in the middle, give it 2 or 3 days. Boom. They will ripen for you and you can consume those tomatoes. And the same can be done with your pineapples. If you take like a mesh bag or like a wire basket and place over your pineapple with an apple inside of it, an already ripe apple, it will actually speed up that ripening process. So that's how you can actually make sure that these ripen on time. Now, unfortunately, this didn't get to ripen on the actual plant. Like I said, due to my error, I knocked it off when I was pulling off the pups. But the flesh is already starting to feel a little tender. Oh, we got a question here. Uh, JT says that makes sense. I was wondering why my oranges kept going bad quicker than usual. That, yeah, it's the ethylene. That's the ethylene in the apples. They naturally do that. So yeah, separate your apples from any of your produce because it's going to speed up the ripening process on anything. But now this pineapple, we already got a softness in its feel. So I think this pineapple might be good to go ahead and taste. I know it's small. It's better when they ripen on the plant itself, but we're going to cut into this because I want to tell you guys what this pink pineapple tastes like. Now it's small, so of course I'm only going to take a small piece because my son, when he said, I got to wait until I'm 8 before I can taste this pineapple, no, I'm going to let him taste this pineapple today. So I'm only take a small piece because, it's all about the kids for me. So you guys want to see? Let's cut into this pineapple. I'm going to sit the mic down so you won't be able to hear me as well, so I can actually use both hands. All right, let's see. All right, let's reposition the camera a little bit. See if we can get a better angle so you can actually see me cutting this. There we go. Okay. Hope you guys can see okay. Okay, now first thing I want to do is I want this top. This top is going to create a new pup. Can you guys even hear me? I'm talking. I forgot about the mic being down there. So I want this pup. I want this top. So I'm going to twist this off. There we go. So we've twisted off this top. And what we're going to do is we're going to peel back these leaves because by peeling back these leaves, we want to expose those roots that potentially are down there so we can propagate this one as well. Ooh, there we go. Let's see. And this is what we want right here. Now I'm going to take this. I'm going to allow this to dry out a little bit. Sorry, the rain is starting to come in. I'm going to take this. I'm going to allow this to dry out a little bit because we don't want a rot situation on this. I'm going to allow it to dry out. And then once it dries out, I'm going to put it in that soil mix that I was telling you about earlier. So we're just going to sit this out of the way for right now. Ooh, that smells amazing. Okay. I can't wait to cut into this. Now, unfortunately, on the inside, it is not that pink color that we were expecting. It's supposed to be more like of a rose color, but remember, this pineapple wasn't fully developed when it fell off our vine. Let's give it a taste. Now, the smell, enchanting. Mmm. You know, even though the fact that it wasn't 100% ripened when it fell off, it's a good pineapple right here. Mm. Got a nice amount of sweetness in it. Not very bitter. I mean, not bitter, but not very acidic. This is a good pineapple. So, if you're just joining us, sorry as I'm chewing, we're cutting into our Mila Pink Pineapple. Mm. We got a little bit of stem there, but that's good. I think the kids are going to love this. It's going to drive them wild. So today we've talked about Mila Pink pineapples and growing them in containers. It can totally be done. Sorry, that's finger looking good right there. We've cut into our pineapple. We've tasted it. Like I said, it's a nice, sweet taste to it. It's got a nice sweet taste to it, and it's actually pretty good. And actually, guys, I apologize to you. Hang on just a second. I need to step in and check on the kids. Be right back. Sorry about that, guys. Life keeps lifing, right? All right. So, like I said, what we did is we talked about our Mila Pink pineapple. We talked about propagating it. We talked about the soil and growing conditions. You can totally grow this in your home. And no matter if your zones, United States, we're looking at zones, what, 4 through about 11. You can do this. All you have to do is make sure that you bring it in the winter and you can grow and have your very own Mila Pink pineapple as well. So, with that being said, what questions do you guys have? Because I feel like I've been dominating the airways, so to speak, talking about this wonderful Mila Pink pineapple. Let me show you that flesh one more time. This wonderful Mila Pink pineapple and how good it tastes and how you can grow it in your own garden. What questions do you have? And it doesn't have to be just about container gardening or Mila Pink pineapples. It could be anything. So I'm always here to help. Sorry, that juice, the juice on that pineapple is amazing. Sitting there licking my fingers on screen. I need to stop doing that. Have some etiquette, Gray. Well, if you guys have no further questions, I've been having an amazing time speaking with you as always. Thank you for joining us here at Mornings with Gray. It's been amazing. You could be anywhere in the world, but you chose to spend your time with me, and I greatly appreciate it. And if you are joining us late, don't worry. I'm going to post this so that you can catch the replay. As always, remember, ask me your questions. You can send me DMs, you can send me comments. I answer every single question because as a Texas Master Gardener, I am here to help you be the better gardener you deserve to be. It's been amazing hanging out with you as always, but I'll talk to you again real soon.